What's good, everybody? So, I am going to show you guys how I edit my pictures. This is just an intro. So, with that being said, stay tuned. I'm going to show you how I edit and do a voiceover. And that's that. All right, enjoy. Alrighty, everybody. So, we're going to start out in Lightroom. And from Lightroom, I use Lightroom to change the color. This is the before, this is the after. We're just going to go over and change the exposure, point curve. I changed the warmth and temperature of the picture, and also down in the noise reduction. Again, this is the before, and this is the after, just using Lightroom. I'm going to show you guys real quick what Lightroom isn't able to fix as easily. There is a spot healing brush in Lightroom, but I don't like using it as much as I do in Photoshop, so I'm just showing you what it looks like. And let's take this into Photoshop. So here's that same picture from Lightroom in Photoshop. We're just going to start off by duplicating the layer. I don't name my layers, but for this one, we are going to call it skin. And we're just going to go in. And the first thing you need to do is analyze the picture. So the first thing I do is figure out what spots we need to kind of fix. And again, like, I'm not trying to change the person, not trying to make them look like an alien. I'm just trying to make the person look like their best self, but keeping them looking the same. There's a couple of spots up here that I'm just showing you that need to be fixed. So the first thing we're going to do is spot healing brush. And from here, we're just going to zoom all the way in real close. Start off in a small section. And I'm just going to spot heal this like little weird, I don't even know what it is, hair or whatever. I'm going to spot heal that. And then we're going to come in and we're going to spot heal the little pimples and what looks like bumps or white spots. We're not going to go crazy with this tool. We're just going to take away things that might be distracting later on in the photo. Super easy to use. There's not many settings that you need to change. I would just keep it small, keep the brush small, and just focus on spots that are very visible, not necessarily going in and changing the texture of the skin or anything like that. That's when it starts to get like kind of too much. So here's the before, there's the after, and again, you can just go into that little eyeball there and it will show you what it looks like without that layer. So we're just going to come into the beard area. This just looks like some bumps when you shave. So we're just going to take those off because that's something that is not unique to the model. But if you do see like a mole or a beauty mark or anything like that, that is unique to the model. So try to keep those and not go crazy. It's really easy to over edit and create like smoothness. So I'm just going to show you guys how I do the beard area. So again, we're going to come in and we're just going to spot heal. And super easy. I spot healed the whole section. It took a while, but it works the best. And you're just spot healing those little bumps. We are not spot healing every inch of this face, but we are spot healing the little bumps away. And just remember to reduce the size as you need to. Here's the before, here's the after. And there's a couple other spots that I needed to grab. So we're just going to go through and fix that. And what I didn't show you guys is that I did finish the rest of the face a little bit. There are some dust particles on my lens, so I did grab those and get rid of those as well. And we're also going to finish off getting rid of some of those fine lines where the smile lines are. It's honestly super easy to use the spot healing tool for majority of it. Now up here is really important. My model Jalen does have some beauty marks up on his under eye area. And so what I'm doing is I'm not getting rid of those, but I am getting rid of some of the bigger pores. Those big pores are not unique to the model's facial features or anything like that, so we are getting rid of that. But those beauty marks, on the other hand, are very unique, and it's just weird if you just edit them all out, and it makes the person not look like themselves anymore. So I kind of over edited some of the pores. I'm honestly only probably going to get rid of the big ones, and that's basically it. Alrighty, sorry, my brother was playing his music extremely loud. But anyways, we're just going to go through and take away some of the light areas. I'm just kind of finishing it off. You can even take away like some smile lines or the creases in your eye. I wouldn't go crazy. The greatest part about the spot healing tool, though, is that it does work really well with getting rid of up inside your model's nose as well, and get rid of any boogers or anything like that. That's going to be distracting to the picture. As you see, I wasn't grabbing the right area, and I was kind of going a little too crazy, and it didn't work in my favor. So don't be afraid to Command Z, undo, undo, undo anything that doesn't look right. But from there, kind of just got that skin a little bit more flawless. And this is a real-time edit, so there's a lot of downtime, but kind of just shows what it does look like. So from there, I'm just going to zoom out, get a good look of what's going on, and then find a couple other areas that kind of need a little bit more work. So this is without the layer, this is with. It might be a little bit hard to see, but it did help out a lot. So next we're going to go in with the patch tool. It's in the same area where the spot healing tool is. And you just draw a nice little circle around different dark spots or anything like that. The patch tool is incredible because it pulls the texture from other areas in the skin and literally just pastes it right on top. You can change the opacity to a different amount so that it's not like as harsh, but I kind of like that because then it pulls some texture back into the skin that you might lose a lot of times when you're doing the traditional way of editing the skin and retouching. There's legit nothing wrong with the other ways that people do. I just personally, for my own art, do not like when the skin is too smooth. I just think it looks really off. With the patch tool, we're actually going to get rid of these eye bags and the puffiness. So we're just going to go through and we're going to pull up. You don't want to go too far out of a little circle because you don't want to patch from the wrong area. You kind of want to get colors that are about the same and textures that were similar. We patched away a beauty mark, so you'll see later on that I put it back, which is actually hilarious. There's two ways to do it. You can either look to see where it's at and you can erase that area, or you can literally just take a beauty mark that the person already has and put it right where that beauty mark used to be. And right now it doesn't look perfect, but we are going to go in with our spot healing brush, and we're just going to go in and blend everything out. So you see the before, that's the after. It looks 10 million times better. We're going to move that area as well because it's a little bit off. The line of demarcation of what we worked on and what we didn't is a little bit harsh. Before and after again. And I'm constantly checking that before and after to make sure that I am seeing everything. So now I'm going to do the before and after to show you where that beauty mark is. I'm going to circle it. Keep your eye there. There is that beauty mark. We're just going to circle the area that it was at to my best knowledge. Grab a beauty mark, literally paste it right there. Check to see where it's at, and I'm just going to move it accordingly to where the beauty mark actually is. Undo, perfect. So now we're going to go back into the spot healing tool, and we're just going to go around the edges of what we just did with the patch tool, also within the inside, because again, the patch tool literally just grabs whatever texture is around, and that's great, but also it just makes like a whole bunch of clones of the same area. And with skin, there's a lot of variations, there's difference. There's never one spot that looks the same as the other. So we're kind of just creating some asymmetry within the work that we just did. So again, I'm kind of just realizing, oh, it's a little too harsh. Now we're going to go into the other side. Same thing. Patch tool. Just patch it. Patch that dark spot. Bring it over to a lighter area in the skin. You can do the same thing if a place is too light and it should be darker. But usually you're patching places that are too dark. And I try not to replace with the same spot that I used before. So if I use a spot, I try not to use the same spot. But sometimes it gets harder in the smaller areas. So you see, I wanted to add a little bit of texture, so we're going to grab that area. So this is what it looks like before. This is what it looks like after. I'm kind of just going to grab and go until I feel a little more happy with the space. And then we're going to go in with our spot healing tool. And we're just going to create some asymmetry again. And the easiest way to do it is to go along the edges of what you just worked on. And it kind of just blends everything in. Perfect. And there's no like real rhyme or reason for this at all. You just click and go and around the edges, and it will really blend everything in nicely. You won't even notice. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to spot heal a couple other places that are just kind of a little weird. Alrighty, so that is the before and after. And it's honestly pretty easy. I just would say don't get carried away. The last thing that just kind of finishes off the picture really nicely is I'm going to use that like swatch tool in the dropper to grab a light color. We're going to go in with the brush opacity at 1 and the hardness. I believe I kept the hardness low, but I honestly wasn't paying attention, so we'll see. I'm going to duplicate the layer so you guys can see the difference that this one brush does. It's very subtle, but it makes a nice big difference to me, at least, and just kind of getting everything more uniform, especially in the places that I worked on the most. And you just go over those dark circles in the eyes. A lot of times we're all human. You know, we all have little dark circles in our eyes, and it's very distracting to a picture, in my opinion. So we just go in with those dark circles. You can also kind of do light contouring, but the biggest takeaway is to keep that brush opacity at 1. It's really easy to want to bring it up because you're not seeing a lot of the effects. But if you just click before and after, the layer and not seeing the layer, you'll notice it. You really will, especially once you do both sides. But just keep the opacity low so that you're not over editing your picture. You're not over smoothing, because that is what this brush does. It is going to smooth all the skin texture away. So don't get irritated if you're not seeing anything fast enough. Just keep going at it with that 1% opacity and keep layering it on until you are happy and it doesn't look too manufactured. One thing I also didn't tell you guys is that go over the places that you worked on just a little bit. Make sure you're grabbing colors from that section, but just go over the places that you worked at so that you can blend everything together nicely. That's what it looks like. Big difference on this side because that was the much darker eye, but it really brings that light in. And don't forget to erase those eyeballs so that you don't have the color on the eye. So that's with everything off, and this is everything on. So the absolute last thing that we are going to do is take our spot healing tool. We're going to do full size, a bigger size. Usually I don't want to do bigger size. And there's like some oil on his chest that we didn't rub all the way in. So we're just going to go over that and fix that. And that's the only time I'll ever use a bigger spot healing tool. Merge all layers, and we're going to add this preset, Mango. This is what I've been using on all of this set. To keep it very uniform, we're going to bring down that color to 72 and the opacity to 20. And there we go, y'all. So I'm just kind of showing you what it looks like when you do mess around with some of the colors. But other than that, usually the last step is to merge all visible layers and save your project. And I'm just going to show you guys what it looked like before and what it looked like after. But my biggest takeaway from just editing in general and learning my own editing style is to make sure that your model looks like who they are. They have very unique things to them. So don't try not to over edit too much. Honestly, as long as you stay away from too much dodge and burn or color correcting too much, changing people's skin tones and lipstick and all of that. Like, it's fun to do, but it does take away from who the person actually is. So I just be conservative with what you do. Here is the before, and there is the after. Just going to show you guys the skin, and there is the after. Again, still looks like themselves, still has texture in the skin, but just looks like their best self. And that is it, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed this editing video, and I hope that you stay tuned for the rest of the videos that I have in store for you guys later. All right, bye.